Hello boys, look, if you click this video, you're either of one or two camps. You either go, yes, I thought this all along, hell yeah, I love Cadia, or you've clicked on it and you've gone, fuck you dude, I'm a Krieg player, this opinion sucks, what are you talking about, you uncultured swine, go back to the fucking pit you came from. Or you're kind of in the middle and you're like, okay, well what's this guy's take? Or maybe you're on the fence, in between, whatever. But you're most likely, it's the internet, you're on one of those two camps. So let me sway you right here if you're on that Krieg side of stuff. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you or anyone that Krieg isn't cool. Okay, Krieg is cool, right? It kicks ass. It's an awesome concept. They have awesome designs, all of that stuff. We love them, right? Not going to deny that. Never going to tell you Krieg isn't cool. Never going to tell you Krieg is, dare I say, never going to tell you Krieg is overrated. What I'm going to tell you, well, here's what I'll say. This isn't for you. This isn't for the Krieg fan. I don't want to ever dissuade a Krieg fan from loving their Kriegy boys. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here for the Cadian boys, okay? I'm here for the Cadia fans, for them to feel seen, recognized. Because, let's be honest, as a community, we have disrespected the Cadians now for a little while, and I think their flowers ought to be given to them. People are drawn to the Death Court of Krieg for many reasons. Primarily, their theme of ultimate grim darkness is what pulled most people in. Now, Krieg are super cool. Okay, they've got, you know, that sick death mask. They've got the World War I vibes, very historical vibes. Historical wargamers are going to very much so look at Krieg and think that is the army for me right there. They encapsulate that 40k grim darkness down to an absolute T. Their artwork is amazing. Their models look excellent, all of that. We love the idea that they've got gas masks on their horses. They, you know, they're those unthinking, unwavering guys who just march into machine gun nests. Ultimate grimdark, ultimate horror, ultimate all that stuff, right? That is why people like them, okay? Now, and they've been released as their new plastic range. So their new plastic range has given a new breath of life to the Krieg fandom. To all the people who love Krieg, it's been great. They've got the plastic kits. They're super easily accessible now. They're a lot cheaper than they used to be. And they're kind of coming everywhere. And that is kind of one of the cruxes of the reasons that I think people have been... Let me not say that people are maybe getting Krieg fatigue. In fact, to be fair, if we're going to be totally objective, we've all been noticing a little bit of Krieg fatigue over the internet. So what you've got to realize is these guys used to be a rare sight in real life. Up until their plastic release, I'd actually never seen maybe about once, a Krieg army in real life. They were hard to get. They were Forge World only, and they had that air of mystique and rarity to them. That is now very much so gone. I'd love to know the statistics for first-time astra militarum buyers, whether they're getting into Krieg or Cadia, and I'd imagine it's 50-50 at the very least. People used to be going, oh no, you know, you've got these Cadian models, and these guys are kind of like the standard ones, but over in Forge World you can get these ones, and look how much cooler they are. And then you go, oh, that perceived rarity, it can't be easily bought from your first Games Workshop, from the Games Workshop that you go to. It makes you think, oh, look how cool these guys are. Look at how interesting and different these guys are. They've got character about them that these boring old Cadians with their green helmets and little grumpy faces just simply don't have. But now that they're everywhere and they absolutely saturate every Games Workshop and hobby store that you go into, that kind of air of rarity definitely isn't there anymore. Now, looking at Cadians, one of the big things that people always say is they look very Starship Troopers. Now, let's just do a quick role reversal. Imagine that back in the day, you know, before all these new plastic kits came out, Krieg had been the Games Workshop front runner poster boy for the Astra Militarum Imperial Guard. people will be saying, "Oh yeah, well, have you seen these other ones from Forge World that look like Starship Troopers and that they look like army men and they kind of, they do them in green patterns and they've got like armor on and stuff." Oh yeah, they look really cool, really cool. You could have easily seen them swung the other way around, and because they're kind of viewed as like the Ultramarines of the Imperial Guard, people don't give them their flowers in terms of the lore, and that's what I want to head on to into the next little section of my speeching. So when's the last time that the Krieg storyline or lore developed in any way? As far as I'm aware, I don't even think it has. So we like the way that, they're super grimdark and all that stuff, but these guys kind of don't really have much personality going for them. I don't really know any of their named characters. I know they've got one guy, that Lord Marshal on a horse, but if anybody can tell me anything about him, I'd be very impressed. Whereas on Cadia's side, you've got big boy Ursula Creed. No, that's his daughter. You've got Ursula Creed. You've got, big boy Castellan Creed. Whereas on the Cadian side, you have guys like Creed. You have a lot more story, a lot more personality. They're a little bit more relatable, I think, and that's part of the allure of the Guard. I think is that they're relatable guys. Like if you were in this universe, you would feasibly and probably be in the Guard if you weren't like a servitor or something. Even on the lore and story side of things, I mean, these guys have been right outside of the Great Rift. And the Cicatrix Maledictum, Great Warp Opening, whatever you want to call it, for like 10,000 years, constantly fighting it. Their very planet has been cracked in half. The planet broke before the Guard did, literally. These guys have been through a lot, and they are a lot better than I think they are perhaps portrayed in media and in a lot of lore. These guys are ruthlessly efficient fighters, and they're a little bit underrated if you ask me. They kind of seem to, people have kind of like little broed them compared to Krieg over the years, but I don't think that's correct. I think we've kind of got these rose tinted glasses and hard-ons for the Krieg, and we've kind of looked over what's on our plate right in front of us all this time, which has been the Cadians. But now I think that air of mystical allure and rarity is gone for the Krieg. People are starting to kind of realize that the shovel memes are a little bit tired. The faceless, grinding, ever silent attrition is kind of a little bit tiresome after a while. No story points, no real characters, no real compatibility with your own kind of psyche in a way to like relate to them. Takes its toll after a little while, and I think that we've got to start giving some flowers back to the Cadians, because the Cadians, especially with their new updated stuff, they're looking sweet, man, and they always have looked sweet. And they've been the poster boy and they've been the workhorse for the Astra Militarum for a long time. And I think that maturing in this hobby might be part of that. Might be realizing that the Cadians may be better or cooler or a little bit more interesting than the Krieg. Hello, boys. This is Relics. Whether you agree or disagree with this opinion, I'd love to see you comment down in the comment section. Tell me I'm an idiot. Please, if you can, try not to ratio the living shit out of the likes and dislikes, because, this is just kind of a think piece. And if you are a salty Krieg player, hey, look, man, you can't always be the coolest guy in the room forever. So thanks again for watching. I'm here once more with regular streams and silly little uploads like this. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen. Take it easy.